The Zuma Must Fall campaign must fall. That is the call from civil society organizations represented at NEDLAC. The community-based organizations say the Zuma Must Fall campaign is diverting attention away from pressing developmental issues that are affecting the country. Joining us from Cape Town for more on this is Dumisani Nthalane. He's the convener of Community Constituency at NEDLAC. But this morning he joins us as a civil society member. Good to have you on the program, Dumisani. Thank you very, very much for talking to us.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Now, Dumisani, as a member of civil society organizations, you have come out to say that this Zuma Must Fall campaign must itself fall. Why are you saying this? Why are you taking this stance?
First of all, the people who are talking about that, it's a big issue. It's got to attach, is moving the program of development away from the government, the focus and everything. Now, if you're saying Zuma must fall, now you're talking about a big issue, which needs to have a consultation. So as a civic society, we're saying, let's go down and consult, and let's hear the people what they say and other organization. And we go back on a round table and we say, whatever we've consulted on, this is the outcome. It's not a matter of just one person, 10 people there, 4 people there pronouncing. We need to consult. This is a big issue. It needs people to dialogue on this thing. We're saying even we have to check how far we've gone with the delivery from 1994 up to now. And that's a report which we must say to government, this is what we want, this is what we think, how we should run the country. You can't just have anybody just calling for these presidents to fall. Even in the OGP, as we are having a world thing in Cape Town, even outside people are starting to talk about the Zuma must fall. If you don't respect your president, who must respect your country outside? You start by respecting your president here, and then your president will be respected outside. And there are processes. And then people, if they say they respect the Constitution, the elections, they're in the Constitution, how you remove a party, how you remove a president. So if you say you're respecting the Constitution, so then stick to the guidelines, go for your elections and do whatever. But don't say one day, protect the Constitution, sometime you violate the Constitution. It won't work like that.
Let's talk about violating the Constitution, because I think that's at the heart of what a lot of people are upset about and frustrated about when it comes to the Zuma Must Fall campaign and many organizations. And we're not only talking about just your average citizen just walking on the streets. We're talking about big names. We're talking about big businesses and lots of stalwarts from the political party that the president himself heads that are calling for the president to resign. So in your capacity as the organization and those calling for that campaign to fall, do you not believe that the president should step down?
If he's got to step down or not, we have to have a consultation process. You can't just jump as an individual and start saying Zuma must fall. You have to listen to the other people. That's why we started this campaign with the aim of having a summit in July, which will say which direction do we take. I can't just stand up now with my 5 people and say Zuma must fall. There should be an agreement where we're saying no. With what has happened, this is what we are agreeing upon. Not just everybody jumping, this church, this civil society, this and this. And you know exactly that there are Western countries who doesn't want our country to prosper. Yeah. They are finding a loophole. They are coming in. They are funding 10 people, and those 10 people, they say they're civil society. They are funding 100 people, they say they're civil society. During our meeting day before yesterday, Sangoko, which was part of us, they've been asked if they want money, but they've been given conditions, bad conditions, that if you do this in your country, we'll give you money. So those are the things we're sitting with. You're looking at people jumping up and down. Those people have got monies in their pocket.
Yeah.
So there is a mission to destabilize our country.
Which people are you referring to?
The Westernization people. There are other people who are funding the NGOs from outside the country.
Would you like to elaborate a little bit more? I mean, you talk about these organizations. Which organizations are you talking about?
I'm saying even Sangoko, day before, in the meeting when we were having that press conference.
Yeah.
In the meeting, they told us that they've been approached by other countries, Western countries, and then they put regulations of which they don't agree with it. That's why they said they don't want their man. That's what is happening. So even with these individuals who are jumping up and down, they are the people who have been funded from outside. You can't pull a march without being funded. But what is the aim of that march? What is it that you are achieving by just going on the streets and then jump up and down? And then, as we are aware, even our economic status, although the Minister of Finance said he thinks the fiscus will be right, but we as citizens, if we want to have investors investing in our country, you must make it stable. So by jumping up and down, as it is now, we are one bar.
But a lot of the investors, if I may interrupt you, a lot of the investors are worried about President Zuma leading the country, and that's one of the reasons that they are scared to invest in the country, because they see all the insecurity underneath his leadership, and that is a big issue from international investors. Very quickly, we're running out of time, but also you've raised a concern about what's happening in Parliament, and this leads us to opposition parties and their sense against what's going on there. I mean, we saw what happened in Parliament yesterday. Again, parties not respecting him and believing that they aren't actually his president, or aren't their presidents, I should say. You know, what's your reaction to this? What would you like to be seen done about this?
With the President Zuma, even if the investors are doubting whatsoever, you have to go through a process. You can't just say 20 people because they've shouted now, we hear them what they're saying. You can't do that. We have to go through a process. They must also understand that. Because even at NEDLAC, we have communications with the people who are coming to check us in June. Woma is coming back again to check on us on our status. We have said we need to stabilize South Africa in order for investors to put money in there. And even what is happening in Parliament, it doesn't mean if you are in opposition you must be rude, you must be misbehave. Because we've got our kids watching these TVs, and then what are they learning? It doesn't mean to raise your voice, to make your issue, you have to be rude and jump up and down and dramatize. It doesn't mean that.
All right. I'm going to have to leave it there, Dumisani. I'd like to continue on this conversation, but unfortunately time won't allow us. Dumisani Nthalane is the convener of the community constituency at NEDLAC, but he this morning representing the civil society member. It's a planned summit of all civil society organizations in July to chart a way forward and to stop this Zuma Must Fall campaign and rather focus on moving South Africa forward. All right, there you go. It's gone 7:30.